What's good, everybody? It's Big Game James. I'm in these streets, about to be in these work streets. Thought I'd drop a quick video today because it's appropriate. I wasn't going to drop a video, but I seen them Eagles lost last night to them Giants. Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterboo era is here. I was saying on Twitter last night, Cam Scatterboo was perfect for the Giants. Somebody said, he been perfect from other teams. Nah, he perfect for the Giants. This is what they needed. He's the type of bell cow, workhorse, blue collar guy that they love. And Jackson Dart, he just got that flair. But I ain't gonna talk about that. I'm gonna talk about the fact that the Eagles lost. I did hit my boy up, Joe Castro, just to ask him how he was feeling this morning. But Eagles lost. They're now 4-2. Commanders 3-2, Cowboys 2-1, and Giants they got 2 victories as well. So guess what? The NFC East is wide open. After that loss, the NFC East is wide open. So immediately after that loss, I made a tweet. If you want to go follow me on Big Game James, all you got to do is type that in. I made a tweet and said, does Dallas want to be average? Remember, I made a video a few weeks ago saying Dallas was an average team, and that's why they have average results. I said, do they want to stay an average team? Because the NFC East is wide open now. And guess what? You have 2 first-round picks, but you don't have to use those picks. You can be shrewd. You can get down and dirty. You can make some power moves to get your team over the hump, where you're not, like they said, playing around the rim. We're around the rim. We're around the rim. Well, you can make a slam dunk move. You can make a power move and still keep those 2 first-round picks if you were serious. So there's a couple deciding factors of what they would probably do. Number one, I think the biggest thing that has bothered me about the organization is I don't say, just like a video I made yesterday, that they went out and signed people. They went out in free agency decent. They traded for people. They traded for Pickens. They were aggressive, right? They got a new coach who's a very good coach. I like Brian Schottenheimer. I told you that, Libra Gang, the Shotty effect. You got a really good guys that have brought it in. And Clayton Adams, Connor Riley. So your offense is humming. You got pieces, right? But if you're trying to get over the top, you're going to have to make a couple shrewd moves or a move. Because when you look at the balance of your defense, you're missing maybe a player, right? So I was watching Mike Fisher this morning. I just happened to turn him on. Shout out to Mike Fish, my dog. I just texted him. I said, man, we need to do a show. We need to get that popping. So I'm sure Mike will hit me back and we'll hopefully do a little live interview so I can pick his brain live and then y'all can hear from both of us, right? But Trey Hendrickson was something that he was talking about, and he's been out there because he signed a 1-year deal. He got his raise, but he's not going to be extended any longer. Probably past this point. He's 31 years old. We talked about the Miami Dolphins with Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, where Jalen Phillips will probably not. They wouldn't let him go because I think he's 27. Bradley Chubb, on the other hand, is 29. I think he's going on 30. I think he's on the last year of his deal, or at least no guarantees. So he's available for the taking, right? And I watched Bradley Chubb's body language the last couple of games, and it just looked like he was super interested. It looks like he was stat chasing, for real. And honestly, if you get him with a team that's probably going to go somewhere, the mindset would change because Miami's not going anywhere. It's a lame duck season. So that's an option, right? Trey Hendrickson is probably not going to get signed after this year, and he's going to be out there for free agency, right? And he's going to be older, so I don't think he's going to command that number. So my thing is this. I don't know any linebackers that are really out there that are going to really make the difference, who are out there on the block or potentially on the trade block. My guy Connor Livesay mentioned Jordan Brooks, linebacker. I loved him. I wanted him to get signed a few years ago. He didn't because obviously it cost some money, so the Cowboys didn't do it. But that's a guy out there who could help the team. I still think you should look at Eric Kendricks. If you look at the linebacker, he didn't have a bad year, over 100 tackles, and I think he still got some juice. And you need some veteran leadership out there in that linebacking core. Why not? He don't cost no money. Pick him up. Stop worrying about, oh, we got Sanborn and we traded for Murray and we have Damone Clark and we got Leofow and Overshown's coming back. Still, this is the period of time where you can be shrewd. Also, Jerry said, well, we got to look at these teams because the more they lose, then they'll be more apt to get rid of players, right? A few things Dallas has to happen for these possibilities to happen. Dallas has to win, and this Carolina Panthers game becomes huge. After this loss with Philly, they must win this game against the Panthers. It becomes a big game. It was already a semi-big game before, but this becomes a big game because if you're trying to get where you want, or if you're trying to get to the playoffs, or if you're trying to make moves, you got to win these kind of games, NFC games. So I said the Cowboys by the bye week were going to be 5-3-1. I said that they would beat Carolina, they would beat Washington, they would lose to the Broncos, they would beat the Cardinals and head into the bye. If you're 5-3-1, you should be looking to make some moves, right? And here's a couple of players that I thought that if you were to do a Trey Hendrickson and you're worried about, well, we don't want to give up our picks, I wouldn't give a second rounder for him. You don't have a third. I would, we got a fourth or a fifth. And they probably like, nah, we ain't doing that. Take Sam Williams. Sam Williams, a fifth, right? Why wouldn't you? Sam Williams ain't getting signed beyond this next year, I don't believe. He's young still. Why wouldn't the Bengals take that? The Bengals wouldn't take a Sam Williams and a fifth or a sixth and to unload Trey Hendrickson, and you can rent him and you still okay. You pay him, he's already, right there. You got Jalen Tolbert. I know they're good on receivers. I don't know what Miami's looking like on receivers, but Jalen Tolbert's out there. He's dropped far down the list. But I'm really looking at the Sam Williams. Sam Williams is not going to probably be signed beyond this year unless it's a contract-friendly deal. I'm sure he's going to want to get paid. He obviously is not having good numbers, so he could sign for a contract-friendly deal and stay with Dallas for the cheap. But his contract is up this year. You have 2 first-round picks. I'm sure you can really razzle and dazzle and still get a defensive end in this draft, right? It's not going to kill you if you lost Sam Williams, right? You got Easy, as a Raku. You have Marshawn Nealon, right? So that would be the thing for me. If you were looking at Trey Hendrickson, Sam Williams and a late round pick, make the swap. You got an instant guy who's going to come in and instantly. You're going to tell me Hendrickson don't upgrade over Sam Williams? And you probably ain't keeping Sam Williams anyway. So that's what I'll be looking at. Give up Sam Williams. Give me Trey Hendrickson. I give you a 5th rounder too. Say the Bengals don't take that. You get a defensive end back in there that's young that you could possibly resurrect his career, and then I give you a late pick. Who says you don't do that? So that's what I'm talking about. But the Cowboys have to win. If they have that record, I would be looking at something like that with the Sam Williams dangling. If I don't want to give up my picks, if I don't want to give up my first or my second or even my 4th, take Sam Williams and a 5th and let's be done with it. If you want to pick 2, you feel me? And then we get Trey Hendrickson, you rent him, you see what happens, and then you go forward and try to get this thing. And plus, you have George Pickens, who you just signed for the 1 year. We don't know if you're going to re-sign him. They said all parties said they're going to wait till the end of the year now. And best believe George Pickens, he keeps on getting them numbers. He's going to cost a lot of money. And when the Cowboys, I believe, are not going to get into a bidding war with another team for George Pickens. So if you are really renting George Pickens for 1 year, which I hope it doesn't happen, this behooves your team to win games. And then, Jerry, you can't sit back and say, we open for business, but people got to call me. That's the problem in Dallas, in my opinion. They have this pompous attitude that we're the Dallas Cowboys. Whether if you want to sign with us, we're the Dallas Cowboys. We don't call people. People call us. I'm always open for business, but you got to call me. That don't even make no sense. That's what I talk about, why the Cowboys wouldn't see another Super Bowl when you have that type of attitude. When you have your owner coming out and saying, I'm open for business, but you got to call me. That don't even make no kind of sense. So that's why I feel like the Cowboys lack and they don't get to that next level. And thus I talk trash about them. Because if you're trying to get to that next level, first of all, your team's got to win. But if your team is winning these games, especially if they beat the Panthers and the Commanders who play the Bears, and we want the Bears to beat the Commanders, and if they can jump in there and beat the Commanders, if they beat the Commanders, you need to start getting on that phone. And if you don't get on the phone, that's why Dallas doesn't go to that higher level. And that's why I talk trash about the front office. Y'all make moves. I don't say you don't, but you don't go that extra mile to get your team over the hump. And I feel like real Cowboy fans, that is our complaint. And as long as you have that attitude, Cowboys will be good. They'll be competitive. They'll go to the playoffs. They're never going to get to that higher level because you don't want to make them upper echelon moves when it matters. You can't have this attitude that we're the Dallas Cowboys and I'm open for business, but you got to call me. These teams ain't calling you. You got to pick up the phone and be aggressive. And you the one that making the documentary saying you're aggressive and that trade with Micah has brought my gambling back. It's got my mojo back. Well, if that's the case, let's see it right here. Because if you're just saying all that and it don't fruition, once again, you're just jerking people's chain. You're just manipulating the masses. And it's just not fair to Cowboys fans that you do that when you actually could have a really good team, but you don't make those permanent moves, even though you made some good moves. If you want to take the next level, you got to make more moves to be that team, right? Because you have holes and you have holes on that defense. You could help that defense by making a shrewd move. And I just gave you some players and some things that you could possibly do. I'm not a GM. I'm not a guy that's in the NFL, but from the outside looking in, that would be effective for me. So kind of give me your thoughts on how you feel about it. As I said, I'm putting Sam Williams out there, Jalen Tolbert out there. I'm putting feelers out there because I'm trying to get to the next level. I'm not going to say I'm open for business and have people calling me. I'm waiting for people to call me. I'm going to get on that phone and we're going to work because you got a good coach. And Dak Prescott is 32 years old. I just mentioned that yesterday. Every year has to be all in for him. It has to be that because I heard him say he wants to play into his 40s. Okay, now that's just not realistic for everybody, right? So reality says at least you got at least 3 strong years, right? But in the NFL, anything can happen from year to year. You could get hurt again. Injuries are huge in the NFL. You could say, oh, well, we're young and we're going to prepare for the future when you got a team now because you don't know what's going to happen next year. Injuries, you don't know what's going to happen. And with that threat, you have to be on it every single year, especially when your quarterback is becoming in the twilight of his career. Tell me your thoughts. Big Game James. I'm out. Peace.